In the darkest chapter of human history, amidst the horrors of World War II, one man made a choice that defied imagination. Witold Pilecki, a Polish resistance fighter, volunteered for what seems like an impossible task: to infiltrate Auschwitz, the most infamous Nazi concentration camp, as a prisoner. This wasn't just an act of bravery. It was a deliberate decision to walk into one of humanity's greatest horrors to expose the truth, organize resistance, and save lives. Today we'll journey through the incredible story of a man who risked everything, not for glory, but for justice and humanity. This is the story of Witold Pilecki, the hero who volunteered for hell. In the heart of Nazi-occupied Poland, Auschwitz became a symbol of unimaginable suffering. Established in 1940, it quickly grew into a death camp, where over 1.1 million people, Jews, Poles, Romani, Soviet prisoners of war, and others, were systematically murdered. Gas chambers, starvation, execution, and medical experiments were part of the industrialized cruelty inflicted on those who entered its gates. The camp was designed not just to kill, but to strip people of their humanity before their lives ended. It was a nightmare that Witold Pilecki voluntarily stepped into, using the false identity Tomasz Serafinski. He allowed himself to be captured by the Nazis. His mission: to uncover the horrors of Auschwitz, organize resistance among the prisoners, and smuggle out intelligence to the Allies. This deliberate courage remains unmatched in history, as Witold became the only person to volunteer for imprisonment in Auschwitz. He was born on May 13, 1901, in the Russian Empire, in the part of Poland that had been partitioned by foreign powers. Growing up in a patriotic family, he was instilled with values of courage, loyalty, and a deep love for his homeland. As a young man, Witold fought in the Polish-Soviet War, where he demonstrated exceptional bravery. A soldier, a poet, and even a painter, Witold lived a multifaceted life. Between the wars, he worked as a farmer and a reservist officer, quietly preparing the day that his country would need him again. When Nazi Germany invaded Poland in 1939, Witold once more took arms, leading a cavalry unit in defense of his nation. After Poland's defeat, he joined the underground resistance, helping to form the secret Polish army. It was this deep commitment to his country and humanity that set Witold apart. In 1940, when the Polish resistance needed someone to infiltrate Auschwitz and uncover the horrors there, Witold didn't hesitate. He knew the risk, but the sense of duty was stronger than his fear. Imagine standing on the streets of Warsaw, watching as Nazi soldiers round up men, women, and children for deportation. You know where they're going: Auschwitz, the most feared place in Nazi-occupied Europe. Now imagine volunteering to go there yourself. This was the impossible decision that Witold Pilecki made in September 1940, using falsified papers and the name Tomasz Serafinski. Witold allowed himself to be captured during a Nazi street roundup. Transported to Auschwitz in a crowded, suffocating cattle car, Witold entered the gates as prisoner number 4859. The moment he arrived, he described saying goodbye to the world he had known and stepping into something beyond human comprehension. Witold's mission was clear: survive, document atrocities, organize resistance, and smuggle intelligence to Polish underground. He walked into Auschwitz, knowing that he might never walk out, but believing that exposing the truth was worth the sacrifice. Inside Auschwitz was a daily battle. Beatings, starvation, and random executions were constant threats. But Witold Pilecki wasn't just surviving, he was organizing. Within weeks of his arrival, Witold began laying down the groundwork for resistance. He formed the ZOW, or the Union of Military Organization, a secret network of prisoners The group had multiple goals: to smuggle intelligence about Auschwitz to the outside world, to distribute stolen food and clothes to the weakest prisoners, and to prepare for an eventual uprising. Witold's strategy was meticulous. He organized the prisoners into small, independent cells, each unaware of each other, to protect the network from discovery. He gained the trust of key individuals and leveraged their skills. Prisoners who worked in administrative roles, the camp infirmary, and even kitchens. Through daring acts of defiance, the ZOW collected and smuggled critical information, including details about the gas chambers and mass executions. Reports were hidden on escaped prisoners and secretly sent to the Polish underground. Witold described a moment of clarity in his mission, saying, "Finally, we are all united by the same anger, desire for revenge. I felt myself in an environment perfectly suited to begin my work." Despite the unimaginable conditions, Witold's network gave prisoners hope, proving that even in the darkest places, resistance was possible. By 1943, Witold Pilecki has spent nearly 3 years inside Auschwitz, witnessing the camp's evolution into a factory of death. His mission to document Nazi atrocities was critical, but he knew his reports needed to reach higher command directly. He decided it was time to escape. Witold worked with 2 trusted prisoners, Jan Redzesz and Edward Szyszalski. They devised a plan. Assigned to the night shift on the camp bakery, the trio waited for an opportunity. On April 27, 1943, they made their move. Timing their escape carefully, they cut the alarm wires and crossed the camp boundary under the cover of the darkness. The journey that followed was perilous. They waded through ice rivers, dodged Nazi patrol, and relied on sympathetic locals for food and shelter. After several days, they reached the safety with members of the Polish underground. Once free, Witold compiled his detailed report on Auschwitz. This report, known as the Witold's Report, was one of the first comprehensive accounts of the Holocaust, exposing the mass murders and unimaginable cruelty inside the camp. Witold did not stop after his escape. He rejoined the resistance, fighting tirelessly against the Nazis' occupation. He participated in the Warsaw Uprising of 1944, leading to efforts to liberate the city. Though his escape from Auschwitz marked the end of one chapter, Witold's dedication to exposing the truth and fighting for Poland's freedom solidified his place as one of the greatest heroes of World War II. Witold Pilecki survived unimaginable horrors of Auschwitz, only to face betrayal and injustice in the aftermath of the war. Escaping Auschwitz and continuing his fight against the Nazis in the Warsaw Uprising, Witold found himself in a Poland that was no longer free. The Soviet Union had taken control, and the communist regime viewed him as a patriot and a member of the anti-communist resistance, as a threat. In 1947, Witold was arrested by Soviet-controlled secret police. Isolated from his family and comrades, he endured months of brutal torture. Despite the interrogations, he refused to reveal the identities of his fellow resistance members or betray his cause in 1948. Witold was subjected to a show and trial on false charges of espionage and conspiracy. The court sentenced him to death on May 25, 1948. Witold Pilecki was executed with gunshot to the back of the head, a fate reserved for enemies of the communist regime. For decades, his heroism was buried by Soviet propaganda. His family lived under surveillance, and his story was erased from official history. It wasn't until the fall of communism in the 1990s that Witold's courage and sacrifice were fully recognized. Today, Witold Pilecki is remembered as a symbol of resistance and resilience. His life, though cut short, continues to inspire generations to stand against tyranny and fight for the truth. Pilecki's story is one of unparalleled courage and sacrifice, and his legacy continues to resonate long after his death. In the 1990s, when Witold's story was finally brought to light, he has since been posthumously awarded Poland's highest honor, including the Order of the White Eagle. Monuments, books, and documentaries that show his extraordinary story to new generations. But Witold's legacy is not just about what he endured, it's about what he stood for. He was a man willing to walk into one of humanity's darkest places to shine a light on the truth. His report on Auschwitz remains one of the most detailed eyewitness accounts of the Holocaust, ensuring that the world could no longer ignore the atrocities. Witold's life teaches us that resistance against oppression is possible, even in the most desperate circumstances. It reminds us the power of individual courage and the importance of standing up for justice, no matter the cost. As we reflect on his legacy, let us ask ourselves, in the face of injustice, would we have the courage to act? Witold Pilecki's story challenges us to honor his memory by striving to make the world a better, more just place.